video, Windows versus Linux.
Yes, I do have some pretty interesting plans for that. Depending on when Zorin OS 5 comes out, I'll be doing it either slightly. Well, I'll hopefully do it before I go away on holidays. But if not, then I'll definitely have it ready by the time I get back. So basically, the concept of the video is to just compare usability of Windows 7 with Zorin, and basically just showing that most things that users use Windows 7 for, you can do just as well with Zorin. Hopefully, with as fewer bugs as possible. So I'm wanting to take the same sort of vein as the Discover Ubuntu video that I did. Hopefully, just keep it simple, keep it polished. I'll have some sort of a script, and we'll go from there.
Right. All right. Yeah. By the way, that quasi Ubuntu commercial you did, when I first saw it, I thought, wow, there's a commercial out for Ubuntu, but then I realized it was just, I thought it was awesome. I have to admit, it looked like a real commercial, like it was done out of a corporate setting.
Yeah. Honestly, I think a few of the viewers thought that because they would come back and go, man, what's the deal? If Canonical bothered to pay this much money to do a commercial, why did they have this this garbage microphone which peaked out at this point, and this point? I'm like, hi guys, this is me, the person who made the video. It's just me and a laptop.
Yeah, I just thought it was I thought it was terrific. Now, if Ubuntu can just work out all the bugs and please the entire world, the hardcore geeks versus the non-geeks, Unity versus non-Unity users, I think they'll be great. So, but who knows?
Yeah, I think so. Seriously, I reckon that if Ubuntu can regain its reputation in the next 2 releases, I'm really staking a lot of hopes on 12.04, their next long-term support. That'll be the one that they're really pushing as far as the real world using. That's the one that they're going to want the stability. They're going to want everything to be polished, no bugs, hopefully. But that's the one. If that's good, I'm really going to try to get behind that and promote that as much as possible.
Okay.
So because I really think if they can take Unity, which is a fantastic next generation desktop experience, if they can take that to a really polished level, they're really going to have something to challenge Apple with, and Windows 7 as well.
Possibly, yes. Like we talked briefly, I'm curious with this Zorin PC coming out, just how successful it's going to be. And really, from my perspective, for it to succeed, it has to be as close to 100% bug-free as possible. Not to be, so hardcore about it, but, Windows users are used to a certain level of, functionality. No issues with the battery meter, or video editing or stuff. They want stuff to work. And if Zorin comes out, even with one bug that's annoying, I think that'll just kill him.
Yeah.
I mean,
whenever I read reviews on Linux-based operating systems done by the outside tech world, not people who generally run Linux, but say when a major release comes out like Ubuntu, it's interesting because a lot of the Linux users who have been using and reviewing Linux for a long, long time, they go, oh, well, yeah, Unity's cool, but I don't like it. But then the people that are just using everyday tech, they're not into Linux at all, but they review it just because it came out, they actually go, this is actually pretty cool, but there was this really annoying bug that really annoyed me, and that's what constantly relegates Linux to that's just another Linux thing.
Well, it may not be fair, but that's the truth, because let's face it, if I install, we'll just say, Zorin 5 in my friend's laptop, and everything works, no issues with the, power battery meter or everything works, they're going to say, oh, cool, and they'll think nothing of it. But if one minor thing is off track, like the power management, oh, this thing sucks, why'd you give me this? That's not fair.
Yeah,
but
that's
that's
right.
how it will be perceived because, he or she will be thinking, well, Linux, this is just for geeks and for experimentation. It's wrong, but I can't blame them because that's the perception. So,
That's right. I mean, as far as a lot of people, because of the fact I've gained somewhat of a reputation around college as a bit of a computer guy, a lot of people, ask for, good applications or one thing and the next. And as far as
right.
managing photos and videos, because of the fact I do a lot of photo and video type stuff, they go, oh, what
Right.
software do you use? And generally
Right.
speaking, I do mention that I use Kdenlive and I use Linux, but that's not something they're going to try. So I
Yes.
generally point them towards Windows Live 2011, which is an amazing suite of applications, and it works on the system they have.
Okay.
It just works. Full
Right.
stop.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
and they're usually going, wow, this is actually pretty cool.
All right. I think before we will wrap this up, just one question. It seems like on your channel you've got mainly positive comments, but how do you handle the, shall I say, off-color comments? Do you just delete them? Do you respond or just ignore them? How do you do it?
Okay, that's a very interesting point. First of all, the community has been very, very merciful when it comes to negative comments. I would say over the course of the entire channel, I may have gotten, I'd say maybe 5 or 6 negative comments, which is pretty impressive, really. I'm very grateful for that. There's this one particular username who will remain anonymous, but because of the fact that the Pardis 2011 review has garnered the most views on my channel, I'd say this particular troll found it at some stage, and basically, and he really just ripped into it. He basically said that, oh, you're never going to be a professional reviewer. Your voice is so irritating. Whenever I hear it, I want to throw something into the screen and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, every time you talk, I feel like I want to kill you. And I'm like, oh dear.
That's bizarre.
It is bizarre. Yeah. And basically, I just responded and said, oh, look, that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I'm not forcing you to watch this. You can go elsewhere. I don't mind. I just was really polite and just said, that's cool. You can just go elsewhere. Nobody's forcing you to watch this. And anyway, so that was it for a number of months. Anyway, just in the last 2 weeks, the same person comes back again and says, oh, I was really looking forward to this, and then I started hearing your irritating voice. You're never going to be a professional reviewer. And I went, okay, that's fine. I'm not really wanting to be a professional reviewer. And I said, hi again, feel free to go elsewhere. And then it was really nice because then one of my other subscribers came and said, what, are you kidding me? This guy, really pores over these distributions and he does a fantastic job and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, oh, cheers, buddy.
Well,
so, yeah,
this
that's funny.
One negative, right? Yeah, but I mean, like, it makes me wonder where the common sense just goes out the window. So it seems like this one guy is right, and the other 499 subscribers are wrong. I mean, come on. I normally what I will do, and I have to watch because I was born and raised in New York. I don't live there now. I live in Ohio, but I still have a little bit of the New York attitude per se. So if the comment is really bad or I hit the magic button, and my magic button is delete. I've been rather lucky too. Most of the comments have been really, really super kind. I've gotten all the comments ranging from, hey, great review, all the way up to God bless you. I mean, what can I say except God bless you too? So,
that's fantastic. Honestly, I've been really impressed actually. Like going into this whole YouTube thing, I was like, yeah, well, the comments are always something you're going to have to fight with. But honestly, I've had minimal fighting with comments at all. Like, apart from that one guy's comment, which I did actually delete because it featured a death threat. The rest of them, the rest of them have actually, been really positive, and those that have been slightly critical, not of me personally, but of the review, saying, you forgot to mention this or such and such. I just say, wow, thanks for that. I didn't realize. That's great. Thumb up the comment basically, so other people can see it. So I haven't I haven't actually gotten, I mean, apart from that one guy, I haven't actually gotten any criticism for me personally. Generally, it's just something to do with the system. If people get really doggy on the actual system itself, if they really start dogging on it, then I'll generally either delete it or something like that. If they say, "Oh, this is absolute, beep," then I'll get rid of that. But otherwise, they've been really good.
Yeah, it's like I said, I've been fairly lucky myself. Probably the most pragmatic, common sense, nice comment I got on the channel was, I like your channel because you see things in a neutral way, and in a way that's what I try to do. I get questions. What do you recommend, or what should I use? You use what works. If Pardis is the best you've ever used, or Zorin or Windows 7, then use that. I like to use both. That's just my my personality, my choice. And I think I was asked a question, why do you have the channel? It was an honest question. Well, the purpose of my channel, among being some form of like entertainment, is to convince some Windows users to at least try Linux.
Yeah, I agree. The thing is that a lot of users... The thing is that a lot of users just aren't aware of alternatives. And I think if you just say there are alternatives out there, then, that just gives them a choice then. And, I mean, if they have a choice, more power to them.
Right. So, we'll see how this goes. I started this channel not this winter, but the previous winter, really as a hobby. Here in Ohio, the winters here can be rather somewhat brutal, cold. I get stuck in the house like a hibernating bear. So I figured, maybe I could do something like this just to keep my mind tuned up. And I was browsing through, and I don't know if your channel was up yet, but anyway, I was browsing through some of the videos. And I won't mention who they were, but let's face it, they were not very well done, per se, in terms of sound quality, video quality, production. And to me, they were total BS. And from total BS, believe it or not, came total OS, as in total operating. It was just out of the blue. That's how it was. Yeah, I mean, that's, it was a hobby in the beginning, but, from total BS comes total OS. I'm not sure I want to promote it that way, but that's
very good. Yeah, very good.
And as the comments started coming in, I did a Ubuntu for Dummies in 3 parts. Oh, thank you. This is just what I was looking for. You're a lifesaver, or God bless you, and this and that. I thought, wow, maybe I do have something to say. And then eventually, more comments and more subscribers and stuff like that. But for me, it's been a thoroughly fulfilling and enjoyable experience. And, I hope to continue it and hopefully help more Windows users see the light, per se. But there are choices out there.
But what can I say? Bright lights, they attract bugs. It's just all there is to it.
Just a couple more things, and I guess we'll wrap it up here. But you mentioned about comments. One fine gentleman, Sneaky Linux, who I absolutely adore, terrific reviewer. You may have seen his videos, but
yes, he was one of the inspirations for the Infinitely Galactic channel.
Nice. Yeah, he seems to know what he's doing, but I have to be perfectly frank. His accent, sometimes it's hard to pick up, so I have to replay the video. I don't mind because we live in a multicultural operating system world, per se, and I think it's great, but I do have to replay the video to catch up what he said. And one of the comments was like, you have nice videos, but I can't understand you. And he replies, well, maybe there's something wrong with your sound card, or something like that.
Being an Australian, I don't actually have any trouble understanding what he's saying. It was really funny. Once I saw this other video of somebody trying to imitate the Sneaky Linux voice. Total fail. They just completely missed it. But yeah, I don't actually have any issues understanding it. But okay, funnily enough, this isn't. This is like a semi-bragging session here. But he had a competition a little while ago Sneaky's Corner, where basically if you would send in a
yes.
question, and he would,
Yes.
blah blah blah. You know how it went. Well, basically,
Yes.
I sent him a question, and I ended up winning the stick.
Okay, I have to ask, what was the question?
Oh, what was the question? Sorry. The
Yeah.
question
Yeah.
was if you could choose any element from any distribution, so the installer from a particular distro, a desktop environment of this distro, the application selection of this distro, the whatever, what would be your perfect, hypothetically perfect distribution? And so he said he was going to make a video to, explain what it would be. But yeah, basically he just said, "Yep, that's the winning question. I'll get on to you later." But anyway, there's a bit of a story behind that. But basically, I gave him an address first time round, forgot a detail, then gave him the address again, but forgot a different detail. So he sent it. The Royal Mail lost it. He ended up getting a refund. So now he's just gotten back into contact with me saying, "Guess what? The refund that I got from the Royal Mail losing it is actually going to pay for a bigger USB stick, which means more distros for you." And I'm like, sweet.
You mentioned about how can you do a review, and sometimes I get torn because, in my Windows brand, and I like everything to be just right. When you think about it, at least from my Windows perspective per se, if I really wanted to do a full review of everything, you're talking hours. I mean,
that's right.
To be frank, of very little, but that's not feasible. Now, you mentioned some of them are just too short. Now, sometimes I'll do, quick look at this or quick update on that, 5 minutes or 10 minutes. That's okay. But you're right. A lot of the videos, when I started my channel, which came from Total BS to Total OS, I had the same thoughts. This is not helping me, Now, some of the videos, I felt the need to break it down into multiple parts, kind of like hand-holding a Windows user. For example, one of the videos was the complete Linux Mint install guide tutorial setup. Maybe that's a long title. But, again, if a Windows user is brand new and needs help, I have to be cognizant of that. So I split it into 3 parts. I don't like doing that because it can be rather tedious, but I'm hoping in the end this is exactly what they needed. So
yeah, and honestly, that I felt the same need because of the fact that in my opinion, Ubuntu 10.10 was pretty much as close to perfect as Linux could get. I put a series out on my channel when I was first starting out, just called Using Ubuntu. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and basically it was just, going through the process of how I set it up, and then just giving users options. This is what you can do. These are the best apps. Because it's not just the system then. If you're new, you want to know, well, okay, what applications work, which ones don't, because the software center is great, but it's also full of garbage. So, which ones actually do the job?
Right. No, you're right. There are tens of thousands of free apps, and you mean to tell me that they're all excellent? No. And, maybe a small fraction are good, and maybe a smaller fraction of that are totally functional with 0 bugs. So, that's what Windows users need to be aware of. But the flip side, the positive side is it's free. So,
that's right.
Use what works. So, I think we'll end it just on one last comment, unless you have something else to say. Another nice comment. It was a personal message, and I forget the viewer's name, but he said something like, "Hey, just to let you know that you have a really nice, friendly, smooth voice, and you sound like that guy from This Week in Linux," and I believe his name is Jordan.
Yes, I follow his channel as well.
Will, as he's called, and he says, "Well, to make a long story short, I thought you two were the same person." So I wrote back, "Well, now let's be honest. Now I have the smoother voice, but he has the brains, or something like that." But anyway,
yeah.
Well, he has more experience with Linux than me, so that's not entirely untrue. So, but
just quick mention about Twill's channel. I really admire him for what he's done for the Linux community as a whole. He's done a great job with all news videos. Week after week, he comes out with really relevant stuff.
Yes.
And I think he's a great model as far as how you can grow a channel from nothing to something that's almost paying for itself.
I don't think there are too many Windows users promoting Linux, at least not the way I do it. I mean, I could be totally wrong.
Yeah, no, quite honestly, I think, like, I mean, it's very, I mean, that's what I find unique about your channel is that because of the fact that you are a Windows user looking at Linux, it
Right.
provides a very equal, I guess you could say, equal perspective with a lot of people because they are looking as a Windows user at Linux, and you're going to point out, you know, well, this is, from my point of view, which is going to be from the majority of your point of view, this is what I see, this is what is good, this is what is bad. And, you know, and then people can be free to make their own choice, you know, as a consequence.
Yeah, I forget who had commented, and I think I had said something like, you know, because I try to please both parties, both Linux and Windows parties, maybe that's why it's been a slow struggle to, you know, to get more subscribers to try and become partnership. You know, because I'm trying to please everybody per se or both, but. And it's, I won't say it's impossible, but that's my channel. That's who I am. But, I mean, of course, I won't be changing it because that's what works. But yeah, I mean, look, if you have 100, if you have 99 Linux users saying to a Windows user, oh, Windows sucks, you got to try Linux because this and this. But out of that 100, there's one. You know, there are 99 Linux users, and maybe one Windows user saying, well, why don't you try Linux because of this? Now, that other Windows user, how is he or she going to be more comfortable talking to the Windows dual booter or the other 99 who swear by Linux? That's how I see it. So,
yeah, that's very true.
You know, I may not always succeed, but you know, it's. I just want to let Windows users know that there are choices. It may not always work, but that's okay. If it doesn't work, delete it. I usually recommend the Ubuntu-based ones because at least you can try it with the Wooby installer. Wooby isn't always 100% stable, but it seems to work for me when I did try it, and it's easy to delete. You know, Ubuntu or Linux Mint. I don't think Zorn has the Wooby installer, but you know, I recommend. Look, try it. If you don't like it, take it out. Or just delete it. You know, as far as Linux goes, the number one reason why I use Linux, I mean, besides being that it's somewhat fun, it's security. I don't have to worry about viruses. I do not use a virus, an antivirus for Linux at all.
That's right. That's right.
You know,
I mean,
not saying that it's possible. Yeah.
Yeah. For those people that I've switched over to Linux, there's been mainly two reasons. One reason is just maintenance. I mean, over time, especially with Vista and XP, over time, Windows just slows down to a grinding halt, especially on aging hardware. So one of the primary reasons I would give it to them, basically all they were doing is just checking emails, you know, browsing the web and doing a few documents here and there, and you know, photos and stuff like that. They didn't have any specific professional needs like Photoshop or AutoCAD or anything like that. I mean, they're the ideal user base for Linux because it's something that's very maintainable. It's something that's very lightweight on the most part. Right. And, you know, it doesn't get viruses. Security's there. You know, it's just, you don't really have to think about it. You just give it to them and then they find their own way with it.
Right. Well, this has been enjoyable. Painting, I hope it was okay. And, you're going to go on vacation soon, you said?
Yeah. Beginning of June, around I think about June 7th. I think we're heading out, and then I won't be back till probably around the end of the month. So yeah.
All right. Well, why don't we leave it at that? And if you want to do another one of these, you know, when you come back, just let me know.
Yeah, all right. Okay. Great talking to you.
Listen, sounds good. Yes, and I'll be waiting for those files. And thank you very much.
No worries. You're welcome.